Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Do me a favor, go ahead and like this video in advance. Some of you guys are really, really good at that. And if you see an ad, let it play. They're reviewing the video that I put out before. So sometimes, YouTube will flag and be like, oh, we need to review it before we give you the okay to have ads on it. But of course, if you see ads on it, let it play. So funny story. I was in the comments on the previous video. And somebody got down below and was like, "Oh, so unprofessional to be chewing gum, chewing gum while so unprofessional." I'm like, chewing gum? Who is chewing gum? And then it dawned on me she was talking to me. And I had to think about it for a second. Now, I blocked her because I don't need that type of negative energy on a Saturday morning. You got blocked. And I don't usually block folks. But then I realized what she's referring to. So I have what you call a wet mouth. Okay. My son is even like, "Mom, why are you smacking? Why you smack? And I don't even be realizing that I'm smacking, but I just have a juicy mouth. I have a wet mouth. I got a lot of saliva in my mouth. I don't know why. There are people that have a fat tongue where they can't get the words out and they be tripping over the words and things like that. But I have that's my vice. I probably smack more than I realize it because honestly, I don't be realizing that I do it. Okay. But listen, let me just tell you something about having a juicy mouth, wet mouth. It come in handy, but you don't even need to know why. But you know why that come in handy. It's better to have a wet mouth than a dry one. I'll just tell you that. But anyway, I do realize what she was referring to. She said it was unprofessional, but you definitely got unprofessionally blocked. Okay. Don't come over here with that energy, but I am just letting you guys know if I ever smack, please don't eat me up. Just know that I am not eating nothing. I ain't chewing nothing. I just got a wet mouth. Sorry. Moving on. Let's talk about these shows that's coming and going. We're going to start with going first. Okay. Insecure is leaving us after this last and final season 5 that will, I think they're going to start filming soon. This is their final season. It makes me so sad because I love this show. Matter of fact, because I got HBO Max for like another week, about another week before I have to cancel my trial, right? My promo trial. I watched all of the episodes again and I just love this show. It's so well written. The music is just always on point. I feel like they always pick the perfect music for this show. And I'm sad to see it go. And I always said, I felt like it should always be longer than 30 minutes. So I'm hoping on this final season that Issa Rae will have listened to us and give us hour-long episodes or something, or give us more than 10 because we need something. I'm kind of sad that it's going to be going, but I understand Issa Rae got so much going on. She's doing directing, she's writing, she is busy. But one of the things that I definitely hope that we get out of this is that they need to give Kelly a spinoff. I love me some Kelly, and Kelly needs her own spinoff. I always felt like Kelly's story just wasn't fleshed out enough, right? She always provided the comedy, but I wanted to see more from her. And I feel like there's more that can be explored. She can still be funny because I think she's naturally funny, but I would love to see them get into her family. Right. Because we only saw a glimpse of that, on that episode when it was Thanksgiving and Kelly was with her family. I would love to see Kelly have her own spinoff. I don't think that Amanda Seales' character warrants her own kind of thing. But it would be nice to see Kelly have a spinoff and then still have Amanda Seales kind of come up and through, as well, because I like their chemistry. I like their dynamic. I like that together. But I'm going to miss this show. I loved me some Insecure, and I don't know, but I hope to see more from Kelly because I definitely think that we should see more from her. I do. Yvonne Orji, she's cool. I'm still mad at her from last season, so we just got to see. I hope that they do tie. I know they're going to tie up loose ends, and Issa Rae is really good at that. Her and Issa and Molly they looked like they were going to kind of rekindle their friendship again. Lawrence got Condola pregnant. It's all kinds of stuff that's going on. And he's moving to San Francisco. So there's a lot that Issa needs to tie up. And I'm sure they're going to do it great. But I am a little sad to see that they are ending the show. Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Next up, another show that is ending after this season is the Have and Have Nots. Now, you know I have killed Tyler Perry in the past for how he writes his shows. But this one, actually, I watched the Have and Have Nots a lot longer than I've watched his other shows. I did bow out maybe 3 seasons ago. But I did watch it for a minute. You know, it was Benny. I really like Benny. And I love Veronica. Veronica is just insane. But it's so insane, it's funny. But at some point, I just let it go. Because one of the things, or one of the criticisms that a lot of people have for Mr. Perry is that he drags his shows too much. He just drags shit out way too much. And I don't know if he does it on intentionally. I don't know. But I do get the point of the fact that he is attempting to create a soap opera, like an evening soap opera. And I get all of that. There's been other soap operas. There's been Knots Landing and Dallas. There's been those kind of shows, right? Where everything's very, very over the top, very, very dramatic. So that's not my criticism of Tyler. My criticism of Tyler, and the reason why I just couldn't watch it anymore, is because some of the scenes drag out too long. And like I said, I feel like he wants to give it that soap opera feel. But the issue with that is that when we're talking about a soap opera, like a All My Children, A Guiding Light, and One Life to Live, a General Hospital, that shit come on every single day. So if somebody locked in a cave or locked in a basement, they can't get out, right? You see it every day. So it doesn't necessarily feel like it's dragging. But when you have somebody locked up, like or tied up, you know, in like a Tyler Perry show, and you gotta wait a whole week and they still tied up, and then the week after that they tied up, that shit gets super old and really redundant really quickly, and people don't want to sit around and wait and watch an entire season of somebody being tied up for the entire season. That's too much. So Tyler Perry is going to have to, I feel like, speed it up a little bit if he's going to do that. You know, maybe a couple of episodes, but don't let it drag the entire season of one scene and one setting. Like, that just is so aggravating to me in his shows. Now, I know the Oval is coming back. A lot of people that I've talked to, they like the Oval. They like the over-the-top dramatic shit. I've never been able to get into the Oval. I just could not. So I can't, the first couple of episodes where I watch, I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this. But yeah, I did, in fact, like I said, watch the Have and Have Nots for a minute. And I'm just over it. I think it's time. He did 196 episodes. So that is something to certainly be to congratulate him about, but I guess he could when he be like filming 20 episodes in 4 days. I guess you could do 196 episodes of a show, Tyler Perry. But anyway, I'm sure he got more up his sleeve. I'm sure he's going to do a lot more. Tyler Perry got shows on BET Plus. Somebody told me that one of those shows on BET Plus that he had with the little coat, that somebody told me that they liked the show. They said it was really good. I don't know. I can't speak on whether it's good or not. But again, based on what Tyler Perry has put out, like some of his content, it's been a hit or miss. It's always a hit or miss with me. There's some things that I like about Tyler Perry and his shows. And there's some shows that I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. Terrible. Okay? Terrible. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? And if you watch it, what do you think about this particular show? Like I said, I haven't checked in a while. Veronica was probably my favorite character. Benny was nice to look at. But other than that, I've been over it. I've been over the storyline. I've been all over that. I even was liked his show, If Loving You Is Wrong. I used to like that show as well. And that went off the rails. That was so insane. And I ain't seen that in a while. Right? Is it canceled? I don't know. Y'all tell me. I don't even know if he just stopped production on that show. He ain't going back to it. But that show was crazy as hell. It's crazy. The craziest show ever. But yeah, The have and have-nots is leaving, and that's that. So I'm sure Tyler Perry got something else up his sleeve, and he is not going to just go away quietly. But, you know, he got a lot going on with BET, and maybe he's just moving all his stuff over to BET, you know, and that's that. But yeah, I just wanted to know what you guys think about that. Next up, we got Wendy Williams. Now, this is something that's coming on. So I just focused on two things that are leaving TV. There's two things that's going to be coming on TV. Wendy Williams biopic, okay? I'm actually looking forward to this. I have a feeling that Wendy is going to be very forthright in this biopic. And I think it's going to be as well done as a Lifetime movie can be. Because, you know, Lifetime, listen, I was pissed off with Wendy Williams for a long time when she had her hand in that whole Aaliyah bullshit that was put out years ago. That was some mess. All right. But I think Wendy she's learned from that. She's telling her own story. And there's been a lot of controversy surrounding that over the last several days. Now, first things first, the woman that she is getting to play her, she looked good. Now, listen, if I'm going to have somebody play me, I am going to find a Stone Cold Fox. Okay, I'm going to find this Foxy. Because you know how people always clown Wendy Williams about how she looks. So I ain't even mad that she went out and got this woman. She looks nice. All right. And I do think that, like I said, I do feel like Wendy is going to cover some of these really hard things that happen in her life. Of course, we know about the drug abuse. We know about the husband and the side baby. Speaking of, I saw something online recently saying that the husband, Sharina, that's the mistress. Well, she ain't a mistress no more. It's out in the open. And the baby have now moved to Florida. Okay, so that was just a little side story right there. But yeah, I am looking forward to Wendy Williams because I do think that Wendy will be far more, now that the cat's out the bag, especially with the whole thing with the husband. I feel like, well, what is there to hide at this point? That was probably the most embarrassing thing about her life. And we already knew about the crack use and the drug abuse, right? But she also brings up something that I didn't know. She also brings up the fact that she was actually assaulted. She was assaulted by an R&B singer in the 90s, and his name is Sherrick. Now, apparently Sherrick has he had one popular song, I think it's called Just Call or something like that. Friend, I know you watching this video, friend. What's his music? Because I looked him up on YouTube and I found the song and it didn't ring a bell to me. I listened to his song. I think, again, it's called Just Call, I think, or One Call or something like that. But his music did not ring a bell for me. I don't even recall hearing this. Apparently, Wendy was assaulted by this man while she on a date. Before they went out on a date, he assaulted her. Okay. And it's going to be in the movie, right? And the widow of Sherrick, he died in 1999 at the age of 41. The widow is feeling some type of way about the fact that Wendy is putting this in the movie. She almost feels like Wendy is exploiting her deceased loved one for ratings, for, a movie. And she wasn't too happy about the fact that Wendy is doing this. And she even pretty much questioned Wendy's timing of it. It says the wife of late R&B singer Sherrick is attempting to clear his name after TV personality Wendy Williams accused him of, in the 1980s. Lynn Carter Smith, that's his widow. She said that she wants Wendy to let him rest in peace, and he's not here to defend himself since he passed away in 1999. He was a beautiful man, a genius with a voice like an angel. We have 3 amazing children, and this is quite painful to not only us, but his nieces and siblings. She says the man that others knew as Sherrick passed away 21 years ago. He was loved and adored by his family, and we miss him every day. As I never minimize or dismiss the horrid actions of assault, I am saddened that Miss Williams feels the need to publicly make these allegations when the man she is accusing is no longer on this earth to defend himself. Our family does not know Miss Williams, and we are not aware of any relationship or encounter they may have had. So I ask you, what do you guys think about Wendy putting this in? And what do you think about what the widow of Cheryl has to say about this? To be perfectly honest with you, I see both sides of this. I don't think either person is wrong in this. I think Wendy has a right to reveal what hurt her so that she can heal from it, right? And I didn't always think that way. I used to be one of those, be like, well, why are you bringing it up now? But I don't have the right to say that to somebody. But I also feel like the widow isn't wrong either, in that she feel like, well, you know, he ain't here to defend himself. He still have living children. We are still here. We have to go through this. Why would you bring this up? So I don't think either party is wrong in this. So what do you guys think about that and what the widow is saying about Wendy? Like I said, we can't tell nobody when to tell their story or when to heal from something or when to reveal stuff like that. I myself was, assaulted when I was a little kid, molested. And then I didn't even tell my parents until I was like maybe 21, 22, something like that. So who am I to tell somebody when they should and shouldn't say something? But if it heals them and they feel like this is a part of their healing, she has a right to tell that. But like I said, I don't think either person is wrong. I don't think Wendy is wrong. And I don't think that his widow is wrong either. I don't. But I am definitely looking forward to watching this. So we have 2 movies on Lifetime that's coming up. This is the last Saturday in January. But before that, we got the Salt-n-Pepa story that is coming up. But I definitely feel like Wendy is going to be really, really candid about her life. Like I said, everything out there, the most embarrassing parts about her life, I feel like are out there. So she might as well go ahead and do this biopic the right way. I honestly think she should. Now, speaking of, one thing that I don't think is going to be done the right way is actually the Salt-n-Pepa movie. And let me tell you why. So I watched the previews ages ago when the Clark sisters came on and they were doing the preview for the Salt-n-Pepa movie. And just based on what I saw, it didn't look like it was going to be good. And like I said, Lifetime can be a hit or miss. You know how they did Aaliyah. So this is a hit or miss. The difference with Aaliyah, though, is that Aaliyah's family was not a part of that. Salt-n-Pepa are a part of this production. They are a part of telling this story for their biopic. But this is why I think that this is not going to be good. I was reading an article recently on the Jasmine brand, and I also saw it on ET Online. And basically, Cheryl Salt James, said that she is not going to include a lot of her personal life in this biopic. She's not including any of that in there, and she doesn't want it. So she is not including her marriage to her ex-husband in this biopic. And you have to understand something. She was married to him for 20 plus years, like 25, 26, 27, something in there. She was married to him for a long time, but she's not going to include that in the movie. She just really wants it to be about their careers and not necessarily focus on her personal story, her personal life. And so I ask you, if a biopic is not going to tell us everything, then what's the point of it? I know a lot of people have been asking that question. If you're not going to be raw and uncut about it, do you feel like there's a point in even doing a biopic? Or do people have a right to there's certain parts of their life that they don't necessarily want to involve other people in because that person didn't ask to be in that story? Don't they have a right to keep certain things just off limits? And that's kind of been the debate that I've been seeing under some of these blogs that have picked up this story about the fact that she doesn't want her marriage to be a part of the biopic. And so she's not going to do any of that. She's not going to do any of that. As you can see, it says James disclosed that her relationship with her ex-husband and father to their 2 children, Gavin Ray, along with her father, would not be visited in the film. And so don't you feel like it's going to be watered down if she's not exploring some of that? I just feel like if you're not going to tell it all, it's just going to be, I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about how people do biopics. If they're not going to tell everything, if they're not going to share all, because all of those dynamics are important as it relates to the group and how things went, right? Maybe some things certainly could be left off limits. I can absolutely understand that. But to just decide, I'm not going to talk about this, I ain't going to talk about this, I don't know. I don't know. And so I'm just, like I said, based on the previews, I'm not necessarily excited to see this. And this comes on next weekend. Okay. I'm not excited to see it. I feel like Peppa probably going to be a little bit more forthcoming about her life. Not everything, because, Peppa got some stuff going on, but I don't think she's going to be completely forthcoming. Another thing that I am thinking about when it comes to this biopic is, see, Spinderella don't have a good relationship with them anymore. If you recall, they fired Spinderella. So how are they going to tell her story if she's not included in production? How are they going to, I don't want to be corny, but spin her narrative about what the contribution that she played in their group? Now, they also had a DJ before Spinderella. So are they going to include their stories in this biopic? And if they're not going to tell it right, and Spinderella doesn't have a say-so as to how she is going to be portrayed in this, considering that they're on bad terms, I just think it's going to be bullshit. I think it's going to be garbage, to be honest with you. I just don't know how. I just don't know how they do it. I just don't know how they're going to do it with Spinderella not being a part of it. So saying that this part of her life is off limits. And I guess they're just going to make it about the highs and lows of the group. But again, even in that, there's personal things that play a part in how things go. We know that personal lives get in the way of a lot of these groups. Why a lot of them fail, right? We know that personal stuff get in the way of that. And so if you're not going to tell it all, I just don't know. I don't know. I think back to, like, for instance, the Clark sisters, that I think was done well. But even in how well the Clark sisters was done, especially for a Lifetime movie, that's what I mean as far as done well. There were some things in that movie that the sister Niecy would sit here and say, there was way more to it. Like, they showed the great parts of it, right? But they didn't show all the secrets and stuff that some of these sisters had. Now, I love the Clark sisters, don't get me wrong. But Niecy didn't have a say-so in how that story was told. So she looked a certain way. Some of that stuff could have been true and some of that stuff could have been false, right? But the point is, Niecy didn't have a hand in that to tell her story. Her sisters had to tell her story for her. Think about another biopic that comes to mind is What's Love Got to Do with It? Now, I love that movie. Angela Bassett played the hell out of that movie. Y'all know that. But as I started to read, as I got older, because, we saw that movie for what it was, right? Tina she was triumphant in spite of all this stuff that happened to her. Fine. As I got older and I started to read the biography and read more about Tina Turner, that movie was very slanted in how Tina told that story. She left a lot of stuff out that would have made people look at it a little different. Now, I'm not referring to what she accused Ike of. That is not what I'm referring to. When I watched that movie, when you watched that movie, I'm sure you were, just like I was, under the impression that Tina Turner was a virgin when she got with Ike. You remember when they was at the piano and she all, Angela Bassett was all shy, like, she was shy and Ike was talking that talk, that slick mouth. He had that slick mouth and he was sitting there talking all that talk and it looked like he took her virginity, right? But that's not the truth. The truth is that Tina Turner was actually dating, her and her sister were both dating musicians in the, what was his name? Kings of Rhythm or something like that. Ike's band. Eileen, her sister, was dating a drummer, and Tina was dating a saxophonist in the group. Now, this is important, okay? Hear me out. Tina got pregnant by the saxophonist in that group. Now, you wouldn't have known that by watching that movie. She got pregnant with the saxophonist and had a baby before she got with Ike. So she had messed with somebody in the band before she even got with Ike Turner. Now, some people might say, what does that matter? It does matter. It does matter because the way Tina Turner told her story, she just seemed like a girl fresh off the, off the farm from Tennessee, from Nutbush, Tennessee, that didn't know nothing about nothing. And Ike then messed around and got in her head and the rest is history, right? He kind of like talked out her draws and she looked like this virgin, like this really shy, didn't know nothing virgin. When truth of the matter is, she had already had a child with somebody in Ike's band before she got with Ike. Now, the point I'm making here is that when people are involved in their biopics, yes, they have a right to tell what they want to tell and to leave some stuff out. But it also doesn't show the full picture of what it is. And I do think that those things are important. So if Salt is not going to tell it all, she ain't going to tell it all, then how do you feel about a biopic about Salt-n-Pepa when Spin is not involved? She ain't got no say-so on it. And we just going to look at technically the Salt-n-Pepa story. I'm sure the highs and lows of it, but too much going to be left out of it. But I'm just going to see, all right? I ain't going to judge completely, but I don't think it's going to be that great. I'm just kind of like putting it out there. I don't anticipate this movie being great, but that's just my opinion. What do you guys think about that? Let me know what you guys think about all of this. You got Insecure, the Half and Half Nots, the Wendy Williams movie, and the Salt-n-Pepa biopic. What do you think about all of this? I would love to hear from you guys. All right. Did I smack a lot? I'm sorry if I did.